Welcome to the USH Nightly News. I'm Richard Portingham.
And I'm Abraham Moises.
The first and only story tonight, the decisive American win at the Battle of Midway.
USA, USA.
Tonight we have multiple exclusive interviews, but first we're going to start off with some background information.
First of all, Midway refers to a small island in the Pacific, midway between half Hawaii and Japan.
Midway was an extremely important base because if captured, Japan would have a very western base far into the United States-controlled waters.
After the attack on Pearl Harbor, America sought revenge, but the Pacific Fleet was severely crippled.
Because of this, the United States wanted to be sure to avoid further loss before performing any military action on the Japanese.
We now go to the field reporter Marcus Petersticks, who has an exclusive interview with Admiral Chester Nimitz.
Thank you for coming on with us, Admiral.
My pleasure.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about how you broke the Japanese code?
Well, obviously, I can't tell you everything, but we had a group of hardworking individuals on cracking the code. With this code, we gained the upper hand in the battle.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about the strategies you used?
Of course.
The United States was severely outnumbered. The Japanese had 4 carriers, 7 battleships, 150 support ships, 248 carrier aircrafts, and 15 submarines. While on the other hand, the Americans only had 3 carriers, 50 support ships, 233 carrier aircraft, 127 land-based aircraft, and 8 submarines, what was left of the Pacific Fleet after Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attacked first, sending bombers to the island of the Midway. These bombs heavily damaged the land-based aircrafts. The American fleet was still about 2 hours from the island when this happened. The aircrafts from the American carriers were then sent off to attack the Japanese carriers.
The Japanese carriers are hit by bombers.
I aimed at the big red circle at the front.
Enterprise's first attack on the Japanese fleet is breathtaking. The outnumbered flyers of Enterprise have wreaked havoc on the Imperial aircraft carriers.
And he could look back and he could see the 3 big balls of fire, and there were the 3 Japanese ships that were on fire.
Now there's only 1 Japanese carrier left, the Hiryu. Just before 11 a.m., Hiryu launches its bombers, a retaliatory strike. The first American carrier that lands in the Hiryu bomber's sights is USS Yorktown. And 3 bombs make direct hits on Yorktown's flight deck. At mid-afternoon, a second wave of bombers arrives from the Hiryu. 2 of the torpedoes score direct hits on Yorktown's port side. The listing deck is a serious problem for Yorktown's flyers. The angle means the Yorktown's aircraft have no place to land. There's only one hope for the stranded flyers of Yorktown, the deck of Enterprise.
In the end, the Japanese lost 4 carriers and numerous aircrafts. This gave the victory to the Americans, and they gained back control of the Western Pacific.
Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Marcus.
This was a very important battle for many reasons. First of all, it helped stop Japanese expansion into the Pacific.
For more information, we're going to San Diego State professor and historian, Dr. Johnson.
Hello, this is Ned Flanders, and I'm here with historian Ezekiel Johnson, and we're going to discuss the Battle of Midway.
Well, hello there, young man.
I have a few questions for you about the Battle of Midway. Is that okay?
Yes.
So, was the Battle of Midway a costly one for the United States and the Japanese?
Well, yes, it was. The Americans suffered around 30 casualties, while the Japanese suffered much more, around 2,500.
That's a lot of people. So for my last question, what do you think was maybe the turning point, or why the U.S. won the Battle of Midway?
Well, I definitely think the ability for the Americans to crack the Japanese code was the major turning point in the war.
Oh, that's very interesting. Now back to Richard and Abraham in the studio.
Thank you, Ned.
In conclusion, the Battle of Midway was an important victory for Americans and turned the tide in the Pacific theater.
Thank you all for joining us. Until next time, I'm Abraham Moises.
And I'm Richard Portingham.
And you've been educated.
You've been